So here's the deal, right? Regarding there's some information breaking today on the Sean Ryan podcast, and I don't know a lot about Sean Ryan, by the way. He's one of those guys that his Twitter X account is right here. It says what is he? What is this guy? He says former Navy SEAL and CIA contractor. He's the host of the Sean Ryan Show. Guest appearances at SRS Jeremy. I'm not sure who that is either. Got a big following, and I usually. I like to know a little bit more about these guys, but as you know, with me, I don't have a ton of time to go through this stuff and listen to all the stuff other people are doing. So forgive me on that. If you guys want to talk about Sean Ryan and tell me some things I don't know about him, that would be super cool. But here's the deal, right? He says he released 6 hours ago. He tweeted this. I urge everyone to dedicate at least 45 minutes to fully grasp the details that have unfolded over the past few days. This episode takes a deep dive into the Manifesto, which is from the actual bomber of the Tesla truck, and an email sent to Samosor by Matt Livelsberger, which is the individual that's deceased apparently. Within this chilling document, Livelsberger boldly, here I'm going to read the whole thing, boldly declares, quote, "What I'm going to send you is going to change the course of humanity." Okay, which, that has been said quite a lot by quite a lot of people. So Matt Livelsberger, a former Green Beret, is at the center of the story. Just days before he drove a Tesla Cybertruck loaded with explosives to Trump International Hotel in Las Vegas. The Cybertruck incident has raised serious questions about Livelsberger's motivations, his credibility, and the information he shared. Now, in this episode, not ours, but Sean Ryan's, which if you haven't watched that, I'll have that linked in the description down below. He says, in this episode, we unpack the manifesto's contents, which include allegations of advanced drone technology, U.S. war crimes in Afghanistan, and the use of gravity propulsion systems by China, which, if you've been paying any amount of attention, that particular thing means that it sounds like UFOs, gravity propulsion, right? So what's chilling is the same individual, straight from the tweet here, who emailed Samosor, which Samosor is this guy, Sam Shumate, analyst of Remnant Ministries, and he was on the podcast with Sean Ryan here. And so basically this guy emailed both of them, the Sean Ryan Show and Samosor, and they corroborate this during the interview. So watch this in full if you're interested in the idea. And it is. There's something wrong here. My tinfoil is certainly tingling. And so let me give you the events here as they kind of played out from what we know up to the current moment. Like I said, I'm not a reporter, so forgive me. I'm not going to spend 14 hours digging into the very depths, the bowels of the earth to find minute by minute type stuff. But this is what we know. Okay, up to the moment in this particular situation, which is again a tragedy. Don't forget that somebody has lost their life here, and we're not connecting this to the other horrific incident in New Orleans. So separate the two in your mind for tonight. We're going to just talk about this because there's a UFO connection here regarding this manifesto. But here's what we do know, okay? And then we're going to just open this up and talk to people about these ideas and what we know and what we don't know. And we're just on Discord tonight, so if you guys, we're not going to do the phone line because I'm not dancing and being on the camera and doing the radio stuff and whatever. So if you want to be part of the conversation, just jump into Discord, come say hi, and that's how we'll do this. So everybody's welcome. We'll talk to James in a moment. He's already jumped in here, but everybody else is welcome. Put your hand up. I see MJ. Put your hands up, guys, and we'll get you in here and we'll kind of roundtable this. But here's what we do know regarding this, okay? So the timeline is this. Matthew Allen Livelsberger, the incident, this is how it went down as far as what we have up to the moment, okay? So December 28th, Matthew Livelsberger rented a Tesla Cybertruck in Denver, Colorado. December 29th, the next day, Livelsberger began texting Alicia Arritt, Arritt, a former girlfriend of his, about the Cybertruck, mentioning how it made him feel like Batman or Halo. I saw those text messages. I guess she released them. He continued texting her off and on until New Year's Eve. December 30th, Livelsberger legally purchased 2 semi-automatic firearms. Now, that part is news to me. I didn't recognize that as a thing, but apparently ABC News is reporting that. And what did he purchase here? I mean, he is a Green Beret, an active duty 37-year-old Green Beret, so I would expect him to have some firearms already. I mean, I have firearms, and I'm not a Green Beret, so I just don't understand why you'd stop to buy some more. It's a little bit strange there. But of course, and this is again back to the human aspect of this, that there's definitely a PTSD situation in play here, which is It's difficult. It's difficult to deal with. It's difficult to talk about, okay, especially with our veterans who, as I've said in the past, we send these poor individuals off to, all over the world and break their mind, their body, and their soul. And then they come back here and they're, looking for some level of normalcy. And it's not easy. Actual veterans have a massive suicide rate, and this is again, unfortunately, looking like one of those situations here. But anyway, so just to fill in the blanks on that, so Levelsberger had purchased 2 semi-automatic firearms legally on Monday, according to a spokesperson from the ATF, the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms, and Explosives. That's all I got. So that's from the ABC. I'll link link all this stuff in the description, and you can check this out yourself and vet it yourself and all the rest. Like I said, I'm not a reporter, so forgive me on that type of stuff. I'm not going to be down to the minute on details here. So that was December 30th. He supposedly purchased two semi-auto firearms. December 31st, Levelsberger sent an email described as a manifesto to retired U.S. Army intelligence officer Sam Shoemate, which takes us back to the initial tweet here with Sean Ryan and at Samosor on Twitter X. Okay. So in this email, he discussed advanced drone technology, a cover-up of a 2019 airstrike in Afghanistan, and claimed he was under surveillance by U.S. government agencies. He talked about the FBI, maybe Homeland Security, actually tracking him. Now, that was December 31st. He sent not just one, but multiple emails to some of these influencers to try and get their attention to kind of push this into the zeitgeist, into the news cycle, right? So January 1st, the next day, early morning, so Levelsberger drove the Cybertruck to Las Vegas, Nevada, which, as many of you know, I live here. He stopped at several Tesla charging stations along his route from Colorado to Las Vegas, which famously Elon Musk actually, and the Cybertruck team at Tesla, the Tesla team, the senior engineers actually were able to help law enforcement get this information almost immediately. They knew within an hour or so where all this information came from, because where he rented it, how he got it, how he drove, because of the way he was using these chargers. But anyway, so around 7:30 a.m. he arrived in Las Vegas. This is on January 1st, on New Year's Day. So so about an hour later, approximately 8:40 a.m., the Cybertruck exploded outside the Trump International Hotel in Las Vegas, which has been, infamous. We talked about this a little bit, and everybody's seen these headlines, and it's been perplexing in a lot of ways, all right? So the Cybertruck exploded outside the Trump International Hotel. Levelsberger died from a self-inflicted gunshot wound before the explosion, which was caused by fireworks style mortars, camping fuel, and canisters he had placed in the vehicle. 7 others sustained minor injuries. Now, this is post-incident, and this is January 2nd, the day after. So authorities confirmed Levelsberger's identity using tattoos and items found in the vehicle, which infamously, maybe you guys have seen the actual situation with his ID, I guess his military ID, which was kind of burned up, but still very legible. Tinfoil tangle there. Where have we heard that before? His military background, including service as a Green Beret, was detailed by officials. January 3rd, the next day, which is that today? What's today? Today's the 3rd. Man, 3 days in 2025 feels like a year already. Anyway, law enforcement released excerpts of notes found on Levelsberger's phone where he described his actions not as terrorism, but as a wake-up call to Americans, citing grievances about the country and military. Now, the email itself, we've got the email here, and this is the part that's sending the actual the conspiracy world into a tizzy here. And I say that in the nicest way, because I'm not, as you know me, I'm not trying to call anybody wrong or call anybody out or any of that stuff. Okay. That's just not what I do. But it's important to recognize that there's something happening here that's, it's at the crossroads of, like I said, in the liminal space of conspiracy itself and tragedy. And so how do we navigate this and consider what's happening? It's a hard thing. But the email, so the full content of the email sent by, blah, blah, blah. I added it. So this is from Grok, and I added the email. Now, I'll read the email to you in full. This is the email, and then we'll start taking some calls and talking to you guys about this stuff. This is incredibly wild. And here you go. This is straight from his actual Proton Mail account, which is a secured email. It says this: in case I do not make it to my decision point or on to the Mexico border, I am sending this now. Please do not release this until January 1st. It says January 1st, and keep my identity private until then. First off, I am not under duress or hostile influence or control. My first car was a 2006 black Ford Mustang V6 for verification. What we have been seeing with drones is the operational use of gravitic propulsion systems powered aircraft by most recently China in the East Coast, but throughout history, the U.S. Only we and China have this capability. Our OPSEN location for this activity is in the box below, which by some accounts has been cited as Area 51, right? I'll see if I can pull those tweets up. Shout out to Ray K in the Discord there. So OPSEN would be Operations Center. So China has been launching them from the Atlantic from submarines for years, but this activity recently has picked up as of now and is just a show of force, and they are using it similar to how they used the balloon for SIGINT, which would be signals intelligence, and ISR. I'm not exactly sure what that is. I'm not a military guy. If anybody knows, please fill me in, which are also part of the integrated comms system. There are dozens of those balloons in the air at any given time. Okay, I guess data collection balloons. But anyway, he continues. The so what is because of the speed and stealth of these unmanned AC. That they are most dangerous threat to national security that has ever existed. They basically have an unlimited payload capacity, which again seems sort of outside of reality itself right there. Nothing really has an unlimited payload capacity, but it says and can park it over the White House if they wanted, at WH actually. It's checkmate. USG needs to give the history of this, how we are employing it and weaponizing it, how China is employing them, and what the way forward is. China is poised to attack anywhere in the East Coast. He continues, I've been followed for over a week now from likely Homeland or FBI, and they are looking to move on me and are unlikely going to let me cross into Mexico, but won't because they know I am armed and I have a massive VBIED, which is a car bomb, is what that is. It's an acronym for I'll get that in a second to tell you exactly what that is. But it's layman's terms, it's a car bomb, as we know, right? But he says, I've been trying to maintain a very visible profile and have kept my phone, and they are definitely digitally tracking me. Now, we see a bunch of paranoia here. We see some stuff about, anti-gravitics, like gravitic propulsion, which is UFOs. This is actually UFOs, right? Which he's kind of talking about the drone incursions over there on the East Coast, New Jersey and New York and all those, which have been in the news. He continues, I have knowledge of this program and also war crimes that were covered up during airstrikes in Nimruz province, that's Nimruz, in Afghanistan in 2019 by the admin, DOD, DEA, and CIA. He says, I conducted targeting for these strikes of over 125 buildings. He says 65 were struck because of CIVCAS, which is civilian casualties, that killed hundreds of civilians in a single day. USFORA, not sure what that is, continued strikes after spotting civilians on initial ISR. It was supposed to take 6 minutes and scramble all aircraft in CENTCOM. And this is almost over. The UN basically called these war crimes, but the administration made them disappear. It was part of that cover-up with US FORA and agents, which is redacted. They have a person's name in here. Agent such and such, redacted of the DEA. So I don't know if my abduction attempt, which is a little strange, my abduction attempt, what is that reference, is related to either. Like he feels like he's almost was abducted. It's happening. I'm not so sure. This ends with, I worked with General Miller's 10 staff on this, and this as well, the response of the Bola Maghreb, I'm not sure what that is either, a place, AOB, S-Commander, again, military jargon is not my thing, so apologies. I will have all this stuff available for you. It's all over Twitter X right now. Thank you. Jamie says, intelligence, reconnaissance, surveillance. Thank you for that. Appreciate that. Thank you, Jamie. I see there over on Twitter X. Okay, he says, you need to elevate this to the media so we avoid a world war because this is a mutually assured destruction situation. For vetting my LinkedIn, Matt Berg or Matthew Livelsberger, an active duty 18Z out of 110. My profile is public. I have an active TSSCI with UAP USAP clearance, which is is that a thing? A US USAP clearance? UAP USAP clearance access? I don't know. Anyway, so this was sent from Proton Mail, and this was December 29th. Now, the bizarre part about this, there's a number of things that are bizarre about this, but specifically that this was sort of front loaded to the actual aspect of he was setting something up clearly, and there's all manner of conspiracies swirling around this, including the UFO stuff, and even some is suggesting that maybe he wasn't the individual that perished in the explosion there. So I don't want to go there because there's a ton in the original podcast. Sean Ryan, they do a lot of that speculation, and like I said, I don't know if these guys are quote conspiracy theorists or not. I don't know enough about them. Like, I call myself a conspiracy theorist because of cosmic conspiracy. I kind of don't like this uncomfortable liminal space, like I said, between the difference between conspiracy and tragedy. It's difficult, and I have a hard time really kind of just forgetting the human aspect of it. Anyway, so that's the whole thing, and that's what set the actual what you call it, the conspiracy community, the UFO community, kind of up in a tizzy. It's ridiculous, right? So and I don't know, as usual, and there's a lot going on with this, and specifically and directly, how much can we trust official sources, right? And that becomes paramount in any investigation, because when you look at anything happening, including not just, let's say, the specifics of UFOs, which have been covered up for a very long time, at least even if they're fake or whatever, right? However you want to decide that looks like, there's definitely been a cover up of that particular issue for decades. And so, that kind of leaks into the zeitgeist of people not trusting the government, and then the systems are kind of collapsing, and, they're not helping the people like they should, and people are paranoid, and there's a whole bunch, that goes to this. But the question I have for you guys tonight, and we're going to talk about these ideas, of course. If you guys want to be part of it, put your hands up. We'll go straight to the panels here and start talking about this. But the wild thing is that I really did not have on my bingo card for 2025, and it's 3 days in, this New Year's Day tragedy linking back to UFOs somehow. And then his actual quote email manifesto here seems to actually trace it back somehow and connect these things, which is incredibly wild to me. And I know that if you're here for like this conspiracy, red meat for the base, that's not what we do. Go listen to Alex Jones. There's nuance here, and it's important to consider that this stuff might be, again, there's some cover-up, some mass hysteria, but don't forget the tragedy is part of it.